Why isn't everyone boycotting the World Cup?
Because people don't think them not watching it is going to make a difference because everyone else is. A boycott would have only worked in a real sense if the players or the teams decided to sit it out, but that's never going to happen.
Dissociation. I don't care how it got there, I just like watching soccer.
Because not everyone has the same priorities, not everyone shares the same causes. It's not because they are bad or agree with it, but because we all choose our battles.
I will answer this based on what I saw to the comments on all social media platforms. 1. It is too big to boycott. It is one of the biggest sporting events in the world. 2. Football, soccer is the most popular sport in the world. Obviously it will have a huge fan base. 3. For a leisure, pastime, getaway to politics. 4. They don't care, they are not fully aware, they are helpless to do everything about it. Anything between these lines. We don't know every reasons, but we can only speculate.
5. Asking the wrong people to boycott. If you really want to make the boycott effective, you should convince the players and the teams to boycott. Without the players and teams, the World Cup will not happen. The fans will follow them after that.
NFL could hire slave labor for the Super Bowl and people would still watch. Oh, I for sure am boycotting the only way I can by not watching. You see, Maradona said once, the ball can't be tainted. Meaning that, despite all the corruption, all the polemic, all the problems you can find in football, the game as a whole will still hold true to its essence. Yes, it sounds poetic and doesn't justify anything. But people likes football too much. There is reason for why is the most popular sport in the world. It was known for 10 plus years that Qatar was going to host. There's been plenty of time for boycotting. Yet here we are. Did you care when Russia hosted 2018, having annexed part of a sovereign nation 4 years before? What about Brazil hosting 2014 with the atrocities they commit in the Amazon rainforests against indigenous tribes? What about China hosting the Olympics in 2008? Where do we stop? Edit. So a lot of people are calling me out saying this is just whataboutism and citing past atrocities. Doesn't mean we shouldn't start now. Which is a fair point. However, I'm going to make a not-so-bold prediction that future World Cups won't receive this sort of negative media attention. Let's see what happens. It is sad what us humans get used to. I think a lot of people have seen so much abuse that they are desensitized to it. I'm not a football fan. Why isn't everyone boycotting the World Cup? Most people are interested in the football and not the politics. Why aren't people not watching the biggest sporting event in the world over problems that aren't unique to the current host? Because it's the biggest sporting event in the world and most people aren't overly worried about the circumstances surrounding things like the World Cup. I mean, Nazi Germany hosted the Olympics, lol. It seems that nearly everything big, the Super Bowl, the Olympics, the World Cup, large construction projects, and huge value corporations like Apple, Nestle, Amazon, and Tesla, can't operate without being the non-war equivalent of a war crime. We should be outraged about the World Cup, and we should be outraged by many other things for the same reasons. But there's only so much you can be mad at before it becomes overwhelming and numbing. Most people are only willing to actually boycott things, as opposed to just virtue signaling about it. That would be of little to no inconvenience for them. Someone who isn't a big soccer fan would have no problems continuing to not be a big soccer fan. But someone who is will have a rough time with this. 1. Because a lot of people love football. Point 2. Because almost every country in the world has documented human rights violations. war crimes and corruption. At some point, why wasn't everyone outraged about the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics? China is an increasingly totalitarian society in which critics of the government have disappeared. Some ethnic groups are treated as second-class citizens or forced into re-education camps. And worker conditions are often abysmal. Why wasn't everyone outraged at the 2018 FIFA World Cup being held in Russia? Russia is a dictatorship pretending to be a democracy, with a track record of poor human rights abuses, mistreatment of journalists, homophobia, and military aggression. People seem to be operating under selective outrage. Are you by chance posting this with an electronic device that was maybe made in China, a country that has a long history of human rights violations? Why aren't you boycotting electronics? Have you by chance bought chocolate at some point in your life? Chocolate, the industry that has something like a 80% slavery, and child slavery at that, involvement. People are spotty about their values when it complicates their lives. And world football is too big to let a little thing like ethics disturb it. If you're worried about human rights abuses, why stop at Qatar? Everyone has their own hill they die on. Some people will never buy from big fashion brands because it's fast fashion and they use sweatshop workers. Other people boycott big cosmetics companies because they test on animals. Other people boycott big tech companies due to data privacy concerns. At the end of the day, there is a practicality, convenience line that some people cannot cross. Everyone cares about different ethical concerns to different degrees. Not everyone has the capacity to live ethically in every part of their life. Source: I wrote this from an iPhone assembled in a Chinese sweatshop with various pieces of spyware built in.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.